Well, that's so annoying because I'm recording on this damn Kindle device, and of course I bumped the power button on the back and shut it off in the middle of the video. But you know what? I'm not going to take the time to meld these together. I refuse. This will just be part two. So on I go about happiness. I can't leave it at that because there's no way I'm done. Being happy is something that's a personal choice. We call it the whole idea of alchemy is mental transmutation, changing a bad situation into a good, which is realizing that you can be happy if you choose to be happy. Nobody's going to be happy all the time, but it is a choice. And they've done studies to show that people who live in poorer areas tend to be happier. There's a happiness scale that shows that the more money you have, the more anxiety you have to try to hang on to that money. And I know that a lot of people would say that that's just a poor person's, excuse, yeah, or I should say justification for being poor, rather the meek shall inherit the earth kind of attitude, where, well, the poor are better off kind of thing. When we know that the rich are doing great because they have all this money to spend, and of course they can buy anything they want. But in the end, you've lost the ability to have excitement through having money. So you have to find other means, so they seek other behaviors, other things to fill that void. The point is, as humans, we're always seeking something. We don't necessarily need money to discover that. Now let me step away and talk to you about mental alchemy, because I've talked about this a lot, and it sounds kind of cheesy in one way, because I don't like talking about it in the sense that it's like beating a dead horse. I've talked about it so many times, and unless you understand what I'm talking about, and you're trying it too, and you're in the process of transformation, you won't really know. It's not that you don't get it or that you're not smart enough. It's just that you're not in the same type of school, and you taking these types of lessons, like the 7 principles, the Hermetic principles, right? Principles of correspondence, trying to understand that as above, so below, everything is related. That understanding the microcosm within the body, you will understand the macrocosm around you. And a lot of people call this hodgepodge, whatever, that it's just, mystical jargon. And that's fine. That's what I expect, because it's very complicated stuff, and you either pay attention to the details or you don't get the whole gist of it and understand it. And I firmly believe these are some of the only teachings that I would actually stand by. Don't necessarily worship them as absolute truth, but the 7 Hermetic principles are accurate. You can't dispute them. I can't dispute them anyway. And the more you learn about these things, the more you learn this is about mental transmutation of gold, of lead into gold. And all the alchemists of the past who have tried to rekindle the mystery schools and study and try to actually convert lead into gold, my thought is that, and this is the understanding, they weren't doing it for profit. These people were doing it to understand the macrocosm. So in other words, through working with metals, they could understand the human mind better. They could understand the human body and how it works, and how to transfer our own thoughts through using metals. But of course having gold would be nice too. But most of the alchemists were actually way off base. They were trying to get a physical gain. They didn't get it. The whole point is it's not about gold. It's about transferring your awareness into that golden state. That golden state of awareness, which you would call that, the solar awareness, the sun awareness, the Christ consciousness. And yellow is always represented because it is our sun. It's our God within our solar system. And understanding these layers of awareness, these planetary layers and these cosmic layers, it's something that just comes to you through looking at a snail or observing a flower grow. And hearing people say that, I used to wonder, what do they mean? How can a person look at this scene and understand this? And now I'm starting to get it. I'm really starting to get it. And so I want to share that with people, and that's why I talk about these things. By the way, I'm freezing because all of a sudden I just started getting really cold because I'm out in the garage. I got a hoodie on in case you didn't notice. So I have this big down comforter. I'm just going to put it over me to get warm. Now you'll notice in my videos I don't come out here and dress up all nice and make a nice backdrop and make fancy videos. And I never have, and I never will. I've thought about starting another channel just for fun where I talk about other things, you know, like science stuff or experiments, but I just like to throw it all on one channel because this is about growth. This is about my growth. This is one guy's process of life and the daily things that I think about, considering I make videos every day. I'm learning new things. And for those who are new to my channel, or maybe haven't watched my videos before, you probably haven't made it this long if you're new to my channel. And I'm still amazed people actually watch all of my videos because watch them all the way through because I just ramble on and on. But I have an appreciation for those who do because I think that you understand me on a level that I understand you, even though we've never met. That we're seekers and we're seeking things for the right reasons. We're not doing it out of gain. We're not doing things for profit. That business to us is merely something that helps us sustain ourselves while we're on our mission of understanding life. Yet, the understanding of life also has a realization that work is part of that. In other words, escaping work is not the goal. To have money so you don't have to work is not the goal. The goal is to work harder so you gain more. And understanding people and understanding your neighbors and your friends and your family is the most important thing. And it's something that I need to work on in my life, trying to understand people better and know why they are the way they are. And try not to have preconceived notions about people that we grew up with or people that we once knew. You know, for example, the way we react to our parents, to our siblings, to our friends and family. Having a certain thought or interpretation of how somebody feels about you and totally misunderstanding and misreading them. And these kind of miscommunications make us angry inside and hold us back. And I've let go of resentment. I've let go of anger and hostility. I don't feel anger towards anyone anymore. I feel sorry for people that are angry or that feel it's necessary to put others down to feel good. I understand ego in my own way, but I don't understand how people can't see themselves and really reflect on who they are. So there are people who look at their lives and reflect and contemplate and want to know themselves better, and people who don't really care very much. And for anyone who does want to know themselves better, I would urge you to read into some of these principles, the 7 Hermetic principles, or read the Kybalion. You know, people will talk about the emerald tablets and things. I don't really find them to be all that useful right now. For me personally, I have the book, and I have several different versions, and I have a lot of different copies of the Bible, the Necronomicon, various other texts and spiritual books, and I've read them all, and I find them all very interesting, but no book can teach you the truth about yourself. No book will ever show you how to find happiness. If you follow a book completely, or follow an author or a person or a God, you'll always fall short of understanding the truth within, because you have a preconceived notion of what that God is, unless that feeling comes from within. If it's something that you've been taught, it's time to be wary of it. And this goes for everything that we learn, of course. I think people take it to the level where they start to suspect everything, and they suspect science of being some kind of corrupt entity. Well, I'm going to leave on this note to say that while the mystery schools and ancient teachings, Hermetic teachings, are fascinating, and they contain a lot of information, like I heard one other guy say that to not meld it with modern science is total irresponsibility. You need to move forward with the times and realize, yes, they understood that atoms existed, they understood many of the principles of existence, but now we can apply that and put new knowledge to it. Meaning science's responsibility is to kind of look at these ideas too and say, how do they apply to the world we live in, and are these things going to help people live better and happier lives? And for me personally, it's helped me to live a happier life, to understand who I am, and to not fight against myself, and especially not fight against others and the tide of life. But without being a complete pacifist douchebag where you can't stand up for yourself. And there's the key right there. You have to have balance. You have to know when to draw the sword, and when it's okay to draw blood, and when it's time to run. And life is a very complicated issue. Politics are complicated. People are complicated. I think it was Ptolemy that said we are political creatures by nature. Or maybe Aristotle, I think. Sorry. Aristotle said that we are political creatures. And it's because we desire order and structure in our society and in our lives. And when we fight against the current of that structure, it means we're fighting against the norm of, and we're trying to change it to some ideal state that in our very small pea brains that we've had for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, we think that we have a better idea of how the world should run, that everybody else is corrupt, that the governments are all screwed, and that everybody is just out to get you. And a lot of people do believe that because they've been lied to so much, and I can't blame people for that, but just remember that most people are good. And to be happy, to be truly happy, means to accept everyone for who they are, and to not try to change things into what you think they should be, but rather speak your mind about how you think things should be, and see what others think, and resonate those ideas, and then really consider the impact. And that's the thoughtful person. That's what we're striving for, to be better people, more thoughtful people. And we'll catch ourselves slipping now and again. And everybody falls for some really great charlatan speaker who wants to tell you everything about how to change your life, everything you need to do to move to some new dimensional level. And then all you got to do is buy their fucking book. You know, just had it with the crap. None of these people understand what's going on more than you do. And you understand yourself better than anyone. So be happy, goddammit. Peace, everybody. I'll talk to you later.